okay to say that the guy who was killed is engaged? Is that okay? Or about to be engaged?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We consider.
I mean, that's a pretty big plot point. You know,
Yeah. Okay. So, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we are doing a special little mini review because we had one movie that was non-Christmas left that we had not reviewed. And so this is a spoiler-free review of Crossword Mysteries, Proposing Murder. It's not a podcast. It's just a little review because we wanted to have covered every single movie because I'm weird like that. And I'm Rachel, and I'm joined by Cammie's here.
Hi, guys. Hi, sleuthers.
Yes. So did you feel like this second installment was an improvement on the premiere or not as good?
That's really hard to say because I was so looking forward to Abracadabra. Mm-hmm. And so I was going to kind of put the two of them together and kind of see how they fed off of each other. So and then it got stopped cold. And so I honestly don't know the answer to that. I do think I did like the first one just because it was a new idea and it brought Lacey and Brennan together, which they're dynamite. They have a great. I just watched All of My Heart yesterday or the day before
for the first time. You'd never seen it?
No. Oh. But I was rewatching it, and it just reminded me of how good they are together, how well they play off of each other. So I like the premise of the two of them working together, and the fact that she is a puzzle solver, that kind of gives it more credence as to why she's there, because sometimes there's no credence whatsoever as to why the amateur is there. So there was credence. There was credence as to why she's there. But to be perfectly honest, I was waiting for Abracadabra so I could piece the two of them together and see how it worked on improving the first one. So sorry.
No, I agree with you. I felt the same way, especially because I felt like Brennan had kind of been hyping the Abracadabra as maybe the stronger of the two. And so that had made me kind of excited about it just on social media and on the Deck the Hallmark podcast. He was on there kind of hyping it. And so also, I do feel like the first one was a little bit stronger, just a little bit, just because I feel like the use of her and the use of crossword puzzles was more natural. But you can't, that's the problem, a little bit of a problem with this series, and I think it's gonna be the same problem that the Matchmaker Mysteries has in the future, is how many ways can you sort of stretch things in order to involve crossword puzzles, involve matchmakers, without it's just straining. And all of these, let's be honest, strain credulity a little bit, but
just a lot. Bit.
But I don't know. I just felt like in this movie, I did feel like the involvement of Lacey was really a stretch, sort of every step along the way. It just felt like, does it make sense that she's here? Does it make sense? And I know it was her friend, and that's kind of how they end up doing it, but I don't know.
And also she broke the code.
Yeah,
she was the one that broke the code. So
I just felt like they need to still work on that. They're not there yet for me as far as that dynamic, and it's only the second movie, and I think there's potential, and I do like both their performances, but it just felt like it was reaching kind of almost every scene where I was like, she should really be letting someone else do this. Like, she's a logical person. Why is she doing this? And so they still need to work on that. But I see potential. And I do think that Brennan and Lacey have nice chemistry. And there was definitely, without getting into spoilers, there was definitely some pretty fun scenes, particularly one scene that involved a freezer that was pretty fun and well done, and I enjoyed. I think that the banter between Brennan's character and Lacey's character is done pretty well, and I enjoyed I enjoyed that. I also like that the show is set in New York because it makes it feel a little more realistic that they have all these murders happening like in a major city as opposed to some small little town like in the rest of them, which I kind of like that dynamic of a city.
Speaking of the banter, there's another scene. I won't get into detail, but pretty much Lacey's character hooks Brennan's into buying her something very expensive, all for the sake of appearances. So that scene was very, very well written, and they played off each other well. And then he ended up having to spend a lot of cash just to buy her something to keep up appearances that they were shopping. So
it was so also funny. Kind of fun, the returning element of this sort of wedding. And I forget her name. I forgot what's her name? The girl who played his sister. She was on Halloween Town.
Oh, I can look
what's
it up
her name?
Really quick if you want.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Oh, what is her name? Okay, yeah. So Kimberly J. Brown played Brennan's sister, who
she was adorable.
Yeah, she was really cute, and it was really fun to see her and Lacey together. And I hope that we get to see her again. And I thought that was a fun dynamic. I would like to see that continue. And so that thread through the whole movie I liked. And so, yeah, I think one thing they need to work on is involving Barbara Niven's character. It's not quite working 100% for me, because basically Barbara Niven's character is there for the Lacey Chabert character to exposition dump to. Like, it'd be nice if they actually gave her something to do, and something, a unique plot thread maybe that involved her character. I feel like that could be stronger. And so, yeah, that is one thing I would say they could work on a little bit.
One thing that I did enjoy, and I hope that they continue, is that the whole, since it's called proposing murder and the victim was almost engaged, and I'll talk about that in a second, but the fact that Brennan Elliott's, I cannot remember his character's name, but the fact that his sister is getting married, and
Logan, that's his name.
Logan, thank you. So the fact that Logan's sister is getting married and they're planning a wedding while they're investigating a murder that had
that's
to do
fair.
with
that is pretty on the nose.
I did really enjoy that. I hope that they continue to do things like that, because that's one of the things that really hooked me into Signed, Sealed, Delivered, was just how the storylines just merge together so seamlessly. This isn't a Postables podcast, otherwise I'd be going on and on. But one thing I do say, and this is just me needing to get a tougher skin, but every time it becomes obvious that the victim is engaged or newly married or about to become engaged or whatever, it's just so sad to me. It is, my gosh,
it's just sad in general. It's sad in general when you're like, oh, yep, that person's a goner. There's no.
Yeah, it totally is. But just, he was pouring the champagne to get ready to propose, and he had everything all laid out, and it just, oh my gosh. If I think back to when I was engaged and how excited I was and happy I was, if my husband had gotten gunned down a month before our wedding, I would have been in ruins.
Well, and I do like the fact that Lacey's character, she does show more remorse, more grieving than in both movies, I think, than some of the others. Because some of the others, it's like immediately switch on, I'm going to go into sleuther mode. Whereas in reality, of course, if somebody that you loved, even an acquaintance, got murdered, oh my gosh, you would be horrified. It would be awful. And I do think she did a pretty good job of actually like seeming shaken up about it, which I appreciate. So yeah, I think the mysteries aren't. I prefer the romantic comedies over the mysteries, but. Anyway, I would give this one 3. I'm going to give it 3 crowns. What about you?
This particular one, or the series in general?
This particular one.
This particular one, I would probably. Yeah, so many aspects to consider.
Yeah, I get it.
I'll go with 2.8.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Okay, great.
I'll go with 2.8.
Okay, there we go. So let us know what your crown rating would be for this one. And if you enjoyed it, let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And we have my surprise interview with Brennan Elliott that we'll put a link to in the description, where I was interviewing producer Beth Grossbard, and surprise! Brennan Elliott called in, which was really, really, really fun. So
I did not know about this. Now I'm really excited.
Yes. And so I'll put a link down to that. You should check it out. It was pretty fun. So there we go. That is this little mini review, and we hope you're all doing great. And make sure you are subscribed to this channel and give us a thumbs up. We would love that. And Cami, where can people find you?
On Instagram and Twitter, it's at Cami Drama Girl. And Cami spelled Kami. And on Facebook, there's the Hooked Hardy Facebook page, and my blog is hookedhardy.com.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So make sure to check that out. I do weekly family movie night posts, and they're a lot of fun. So if you need ideas for what to watch with your family, check that out. And make sure that you take a look at our merch store, because we have lots of fun stuff going on there. And I'll have the link in the description. And also we have our link to our Patreon account. And we sure appreciate all of our patrons. So check that out as well. So thanks so much, Cami, for coming on to this little mini review with me. And we'll talk to you all later. Bye.
Bye.
Yay. We did it.
Okay.
Okay.